Thank you to all the friends on Instagram following You Are More 988.
Can you hear them screaming out your
Mr. K Chicago, we are here with You Are More.
Damn good to be back home in the WWE.
I'm a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Tazz Knows Podcast, and I am your co-host, Naynay, through an amazing collaboration called Suplex The Stigma and our amazing friends for You Are More. Here we have Louis, Shannon, Jose, and Melissa collaborating together for an amazing cause. Mental health advocates and suicide prevention advocates. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
Hi, Tess.
Hi, guys.
There you go, Tess. Don't worry about it.
So yeah, I'm just gonna put in my part real quick, pass on the floor to you guys. I'm just really thankful to be part of this. I know you said earlier that it's your first podcast. You need someone that you can trust, and I'm grateful and honored to be that person. So give the platform for You Are More. It's a great brand. It's a great cause. Professional wrestling has been a huge part of my journey as far as a martial artist, as far as life in general. So to be part of this is really exciting for me. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Honestly, really pumped, excited. For the longest time, we've been wanting to share our story and to be able to do it with you two, people that we've grown to love a lot over the last couple of years, and just supporting you guys and everything you guys are doing. You Are More is an amazing community, and just because you guys are proof, right? We meet people like you in it. So really happy to be here. My name is Luis. I'm one of the co-founders of You Are More. I'm joined by my team here. I would say we're all the co-founders because we all play an integral role. So, woo! I'm going to pass this over to Shannon.
I'm Shannon. I am the co-founder of You Are More. Thank you. And the wife. So I am mostly behind the scenes. You won't see my face a lot. But yeah, I'm just so proud of Luis and everything he's doing with You Are More and the cause. And he's just so passionate about it and everything that he puts into it. He loves it. And I'm just so proud and very excited for what happens next.
To piggyback off what Shannon was saying, I'm excited to be a part of this podcast with Louis. He's very passionate about You Are More. We've seen, me and Shannon have seen collectively what Louis has turned this community to. He started this page as just somewhere where people can go to talk about their mental health, anything that they're going through, and nobody told him to do it. Nobody told him to dedicate his it's pretty much like a full-time job what he does on the side, but nobody told him to do this, and we're grateful that we're able to be a part of it. Yeah. We're grateful to be able to contribute in any way we can. Louis has been a light in many people's lives. We've seen I personally have seen people reach out to him in all days and night, somebody that feels like they don't have somebody to talk to about their mental health. And Louis gets these messages. He reads all your messages, and it's a community that we've established over at You Are More, and we're happy to be a part of it. And couldn't be happier to share what we do with You Are More with you guys. Like it's a great honor to be here today and to be able to share where we've started from and where we're going. And we're just happy to be here. And shout out to Jordan Cross right here.
I didn't introduce Jordan.
Oh! That's going to be a snippet. That's going to be a snippet. And without further ado, here's Melissa.
Just the artist.
Yeah, I'm so happy that we finally got to share our story. Thank you guys for coming to Joliet. Middle of nowhere. I am not from here. Yeah, so let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. Started okay.
Right?
Throw it back. Throw it back.
Kids are alright.
It's all right.
So let's start at the beginning. How did You Are More become what it is?
Yeah. So we will have to go back a few years. So it started with myself and my wife originally. We had met through our church. She had been struggling herself with her mental health, going through depression, anxiety, a whole bunch of things. We were friends at this Bible study, and I had sent her a song that helped me a lot. It was a song called You Are More. Spoiler alert, that is how she came up with the name. That's why she is definitely credited as a co-founder, because she helped me out at a time where I needed her. She needed someone. And now fast forward, 4 years later, we're married. So look at God. Isn't God great? God's great. So yeah, so that's how we got the name. In terms of how the community got formed, Jason David Frank, as we all know, recently we just did a collaboration with the Be a Legend Foundation with his wife and his daughter, Tammy and Jenna Frank. JDF had committed suicide, and if we all know, him as like this larger than life icon, this superhero, someone who was looked up to, someone who's looked at as a light in so many people's lives, as a role model. And we have no idea the battles that people are going through. And for me, that one just hit, right? Mm-hmm. Hearing his loss, it impacted me a lot. And I had a conversation with Shannon about it. When he passed away, I said, I don't know why, but I feel like something's in my heart and it's telling me to do something, right? Because I had met him so many times throughout the last 10 plus years, and he was always kind. It was a full circle moment to do that collaboration with him, because you hear stories about how kind he was to his fans, about how if his fans had no money, he would not charge them to meet them like other celebrities would, right? And there was a time where I didn't have any money, and he didn't charge us. He said, jump in the photo, here's some free autographs. And I never forgot that. I never forgot that kindness. So full circle moment, getting to work with him last month and his family and his memory. There was a time where, I was going through a lot mentally. I had been hospitalized after a semi-truck hit my car and survived an 8-car pileup. It caused severe bruising in my brain. I had to learn how to re-walk, basically. And the doctor basically told me, he's like, I don't know that you're ever going to wake up and not feel like you're hungover. Basically what he said. He said, this can last for 3 days, it can last for 3 weeks, it can last for 3 months. And when he showed me my brain, he's like, all that, no good. And yeah, I was in a really dark spot. I couldn't do anything, because anyone who's ever nursed concussions knows how bad it is. Because they tell you can't do anything but be bored. You can't watch TV, you can't do anything, you just lay there. And so I had a lot of time with my mind, a lot of time for prayer, a lot of time for getting right with God. And, I asked God to get me out of it, and he saw me through it. And I honestly wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for that relationship that I have with my God, and I'm just so grateful. I'm a big believer that God uses our pain for purpose, and so we could use that pain for good, right? And use our trials, our testimony to help other people that are struggling. Then we've done something right. And so I told my wife about it after that. JDF passed away. I said, I want to do something to help people, because I don't want people to feel like I feel. I want them to know that it's okay to feel what they're feeling and they're not alone. And then, we just started doing these affirmations. I would post these mental health minutes, but I would just speak life into people and, tell them the help is out there. I would advocate for the 988 Lifeline. Tell them that if they feel thoughts of suicidal ideation, depression, anxiety, that it's okay to feel those things, but it's not okay to stay there. Ask for help. And I'm glad I did, because these are the people who helped me, and these are the people who are here today to help growing the brand. So that's a Cliff Notes version of a long, winding journey with how we got the name and how we got started.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I did wanted to ask you though, because doing this, you're more, it could start off as it's just a brand, right? It's just a brand, right? What you do is advocate for mental health, and you talk a lot about your mental health, but why this big? What's your ultimate goal? What do you want to tell people with your story, with You and More?
Yeah, so I think for us, when we do talk, our goal is to help as much people as possible, but not losing the sight of, if we help one person, just one person that day when we post something, then that's enough, right? And for me, I had no goals going into this other than making sure that people who wanted help knew where they can get the help, and to know that it's okay to feel how they were feeling, right? So I don't have I would say long-winded goals. We kind of really take it one day at a time. Right now we are in discussions with a really big clothing company that could potentially take us to the next level for another collaboration, but we're not at liberty to talk about it. But there are these things that when we get together, we come together as a team, right? Just like last month with the Be a Legend Foundation, that was like a no-brainer, right? For us to be working with Tammy Frank and Jenna Frank, and to be able to advocate for suicide prevention with the people that inspired the page, that was a full moment. The TNA wrestling collaboration, again, being wrestling fans our whole lives, no brainer, right? And then when people help us with their reach and help advocate and believe in the message, we look to work all the time with people that want help, want to help use their reach for good. So we take it a day at a time. We want to live our lives that in the moment, right? Like that one day at a time mindset. And if it's right for us, if it's right for us as a team, we talk it over, and then we pursue it together. We don't do anything alone, right? Anything that we do as a team, we make the decisions together. I call Melissa as soon as someone reaches out and says, "Hey, I would like to model this shirt. Can you do this?" I say, "Hey, what do you think about this person? What do we know about?" Right? It's not just "Hey, message us and you get a free shirt," right?
Yeah.
What do they believe in, right? Because we know that it's a brand. We know what the message stands for, and you got to be very careful, right, with who reaches out to you.
I kind of went through something similar with my gym, because when I started training, it was, I was going through a bout of depression. I didn't know what life was doing for me at the time. And I was struggling, and I always tell people, I've said it on the podcast so many times before, the first day I trained, it was love at first punch. The second I threw my first punch, I was like, this is awesome, and it instantly started replacing the negative feelings with something positive, and that's what kind of took my journey. And I've gone through the ups and because you get consumed in what you do. You start watching a little bit closely. UFC guys, top guys make a lot of money. I was like, I want to make a lot of money, but then life takes you on a journey that sometimes you're not ready for. And that's why I like when you guys are saying, you work as a team and taking it day by day, because things change all the time. And when I started the gym, it was I wanted fighters, I wanted champions. And when the pandemic hit and I got to know the students on a deeper level, because now we can't meet in person. Training MMA through a screen, we tried, and it was mostly, I already felt like I couldn't be there for my students through a screen the way that I typically am at the gym. I try to give the people at the gym, we'll have classes with 20 some people, and I still try to give individual time for everybody, and I just couldn't do that through a screen. So I started doing one at a time. Whoever wanted to get on a video call, we'll train for 45 minutes, and a lot of those training sessions ended up just being 45-minute conversations, and I was doing them from my house, and then I couldn't do it because it felt like I was just at home. So I went to the gym to do the calls, And a lot of the students were like, I like this better because it feels like I'm there. I'm not home when I'm on this call, and these 45 minutes are the best of my day. And that's when I really started realizing this is more than just fighting, you know, and I always viewed professional wrestling as more than just entertainment. There's something more to it, you know, and for a while I always felt like I was crazy because I was like, am I the only one that thinks like this? You know, so, and then growing up, I was just a WWE guy. Like, I didn't know what indie wrestling was. And then again, pandemic, taking something negative and finding the positives in it. That's how I found indie wrestling, you know, and that's when I met Mr. Kate. That's when I met you guys, you know, and to see like-minded people that understand that, you know, it's more than just a sport. It's more than just a clothing brand. There's a community and there's real life people there with struggles that a lot of people go through but don't want to talk about it, you know, but now it's creating a safe space for people, even just to know if they don't want to talk yet, that's fine, but just know that you're not alone, you know, and that's what kind of attracted me to your guys' brand, because I saw what you guys were doing from the very beginning, and I was like, I want to be a part of this community. I want to help however I can. So thank you guys.
That was awesome.
I think for me, well, I know for me, one of the things that attracted me to your brand was the constant reminders of keep going, keep going. As you guys may know, I talk a lot about my mental health in my YouTube channel with Tazz and just all my social media platforms. I talk about mental health and basically connecting MMA with everyday life, right? And our struggles, mental battles, our traumas. But what I really appreciated from all of you is that you reminded me to never give up. And there will be times that I felt so down and I was struggling, like at the gym is hard, you know, working, life-work balance is difficult. So then when I go into Instagram sometimes and I would go to your page and then I see a nice post of, you know, reminding me to never quit. It's like a breath, a breath of fresh air, because I know that social media can be toxic, but what you guys are doing is advocating for that mental health, and it's a beautiful reminder. So thank you.
No, honestly, that means a lot, because look at it. It says keep going right there.
Yeah.
It means a lot because there are days where we'll like get together, we'll be hanging out, and we'll be very blunt with each other. Melissa goes, I feel like we're doing anything right now. like, what are we doing right now? And then I have to humble myself and say, I don't know that I'm doing a lot, right? And then you get in your head, okay? And like the toughest critic you can possibly have is yourself. You get in these wars with yourself. And a lot of the times, my best content comes at the time where I'm feeling the most down or depressed about something, whether it's grief, whether it's like mourning somebody that I lost and I loved, like my dad or recently grandma. And I'm, these holidays that come up, like Christmas, Father's Day, and I'll just write a post just from my heart and say, like, hey, this is what I feel, but I'm reaching out to that person that's also feeling like that too, right? Or like those affirmation videos. I used to do them a lot more back in the day, but I would just go through the week and just board view, and then if somebody saw it right when they woke up, I'm like, I want the first thing that somebody sees when they wake up to be a positive message. That's why I would post them right at 7 a.m. So when people go through the feed, they can see, like, hey, dude, you are more than a number on a spreadsheet. You are more than this feeling of depression, right? Because it's a feeling. It's not. It's a feeling. It's temporary.
Yeah.
It'll go away, right? Don't want to label yourself with that, right? So I always tell my wife too. If she catches me, I tell her I'm feeling very anxious right now. She's like, "Well, you're feeling it. You don't have it. You feel it. Don't let that control you. Don't let that have that power over you." And she does a really great job around you. So.
If one of you may share, if you would like or feel comfortable sharing, what are your mental battles? What are your, if you want to share anything personal, they could help somebody.
I mean, publicly, I haven't talked about my mental struggles, but my past, like, I suffered depression in 2016. It took me about 6 months to like learn how to drive again after I had an accident. But this accident was a little bit different. This wasn't a semi truck, but it was a 4-way intersection where somebody passed the stop sign at like 90-something miles an hour, and they were under the influence because they had spent the night celebrating their like 21st birthday or something. And I was in the car with Lewis, actually, and my little brother. And I'll never forget that day because when the car accident happened, I felt like the car glided for what felt like 5 minutes. And the car just implodes on you. All you feel is the airbag. And in my head, all I'm thinking of are my brothers. Like, are my brothers okay? Is everybody in this car okay? And like once the car stopped gliding, I felt like a sigh of relief. And I'll never forget like hearing Lewis and my little brothers like hearing their pain from the car accident was the best sound I've ever heard in my life because it meant that they were alive. When I heard just them being hurt, I was like, okay, they're alive. We're good. And then we found out later that they had been under the influence, and it was heavy for me because I found out that in the other car, a few of them had passed away. So with me having to deal with that months after it happened, I kept telling myself, why am I? Like, what happened that I'm alive and now these people are not here with us anymore? So I went months, like I couldn't even drive to like get a meal because I was so scared to drive my car. Like I remember like people were constantly like honking at me like, dude, get out of the road, but they had no idea. They had no idea that it was my first time in a car in like 6 months. So I had some PTSD with that, and I was scared because I didn't know what was going to come from the situation. There was a scenario where like I was getting threats online from like the other family members that think that I did it intentionally. But it was before like the toxicology and all that stuff came out. So I had gotten some threats online about like why would like you killed these people. That's what people were telling me, and this was an accident. Like I wasn't under the influence. Like I wasn't drinking. Like I was completely sober. That's why I'm not in jail, right? Yeah. So these people were under the influence. They ended up passing away, unfortunately. But to me, all I remember when I was loaded onto an ambulance was the people on the walkie saying, yep. No, they're not alive. They're not alive. And I'm like, I'm getting loaded into an ambulance. So I don't know if they're talking about him. I don't know if they're talking about my little brother. All I'm hearing is that in there. So a little bit, it was a very heavy situation to go through. But what got me through it was a lot of prayer. Like I remember being on my knees in the middle of my living room and just praying to God to heal what I was going through and to take away the pain that I had been going through. And the next day, I had court for the incident that happened. And my attorney at the time, because I got an attorney for this whole thing, he told me, do not go into the courtroom without me. Do not go into that courtroom without me because you don't know what the family is capable of. You don't want to talk to them. You don't want to deal with any of this. And that day, for whatever reason, because God doesn't make mistakes, God does things with a purpose. Okay? That day, my attorney was running late, he wasn't picking up his phone, and the court session was about to start. So I'm like, I don't want to be late for this. So this is like an important thing to not miss. So I disobeyed what my attorney said, and we went in. And what happened? The family of the people that passed away were, and they find me out of the in the lobby, and they're like, "Are you Jose Mendez?" And I'm like, "Yes." And for the longest time, I had this feeling, even though I didn't do anything wrong, I felt heavy guilt in my heart for what happened, as anybody would. Like if you have an accident and somebody passed, okay. So when they came up to me, they said, "Are you Jose Mendez?" I said, "Yes." They hugged me, and they said, "I just want to let you know, we don't have any feelings of resentment for you. it's okay what happened, and God has a purpose for you. And you are here today because God has a purpose, a bigger purpose. I broke down in the middle of the court and I just started crying because for months I had been feeling guilt and just feeling overwhelmed with what happened with this car accident. And when they told me that, I felt like this peace over me of just like I was finally like kind of like set free. Like I felt like this load I was carrying, I finally like set it down when their family told me that. So if I'm able to help somebody feel like the weight that they're carrying, like if we could help them set it down. Like Lewis is carrying a wristband that says "You Are More, Keep Going." I usually have one on my wrist, but I gave mine away last week to somebody that had just been on vacation. They were a firefighter and they were telling me about the horrific things that they see on scene, and I was like, "Here's good opportunity to spread the word." And that's what we do here. That's why we do what we do, is to spread the good word of don't give up, keep going, you are more. Because I know a lot of people that are firefighters, and I see the horrific scene. I hear about the horrific scenes they see, and it's a lot to traumatize them. So if I can give that person a reminder on their wrist when they're at work to say, okay, I got this. I can keep going. Like I am more than whatever this situation is. I can do this. That's why I hopped on later with the brand to help Lewis, because we do everything together. We're twin brothers. Like when I got a job, he got a job at the same place. Wherever he goes, I go. When I got a real estate license, he got a real estate license. And then come find out he's running this Instagram page for mental health awareness. And I was like, I want to help you too, because that's who we are. Like
Team.
We're a team. And I'll never forget, like, even just being little kids, like I've always wanted to endure everything so he doesn't have to go through the difficulty or pain of finding out stuff the hard way. I remember we were little, coming down the stairs, and I busted my butt coming down the stairs because I didn't hold the handrail as a little kid learning to walk. And the first thing I did was I dusted myself up and I ran up the stairs and I held his hand because I was like, hey, hold on to the handrail and hold my hand because I just found this. And I don't want you to do this. So I feel like in a way, like we're able to do that with a lot of people and spread the good word. Like that's why we do what we do. I don't know if I answered your question.
Be a hand to hold.
Be a hand to hold.
Be a hand to hold, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything major life event like that, like a car accident. But I think anxiety and depression comes in all different forms, whether it's like more chemical, a daily thing, like that's more for me. I've always dealt with mostly anxiety, like just coming on here gave me lots of anxiety. But I looked at, sometimes like I'll look at like journals I've read from high school and I'm like, oh my God. Like and, you know, I've come a far way, and like we said, we met right around the time where I feel like I was in the prime of that, and I started going to our church's group, and I was not, you know, looking for a relationship either. It was kind of that thing where it was like, I really just need to find God and, you know, peace, and so I thank God for Luis bringing my life. Like, he's just such a great husband, and he's helped me through a lot of those things. But I would say, like, when it comes to the start of all that, it was, you know, God and finding hope. I've been on medication for a few years now for anxiety and depression, and it's helped me a lot. And you know, that's a controversial subject. Not everyone believes in medication and therapy and all that, but I think it's a great tool, and a lot of what we do and the t-shirts and raising the money, like it, you know, helps with resources for that. And that's the biggest thing that is your more, is with the t-shirts and all that, you know, it raises money for all these resources for people to get that help. Because there's some people that they don't have money to go to therapy. They don't have the tools or maybe even people in their life to talk to about this stuff. You know, some people are very lonely. So just seeing, you know, a random stranger like Louise, like on the face, and they really just don't have anyone like that. That's maybe the biggest thing that someone's helped them that day, you know, something like that. So I would say it's going to always be a journey, especially with anxiety. Like, I'm wiggling my foot right now, and but it's grown so much. And I feel, just with the grace of God and just prayer and family, it's gone a lot better since, you know, I was younger. But I would say, yeah. Thank you.
Melissa. Okay. So, like her, I just wanted to show that anxiety does come in different colors, different symptoms.
Yeah.
It presents itself differently in some people. For me, it's a very physical thing. You know, I get panic attacks, right? So growing up in a Mexican household, panic attacks it's just like take some Pepto-Bismol. Or take an Advil. Like, I can't breathe. I was like, but so a lot of times this goes undetected in younger people in Mexican families. So I wanted to be part of this team because I also like to share my personal stories and what I've been through. Because when I was young and I would be in my room shaking violently, I was like, what is wrong with me? Is this do I have epilepsy? Mother, help. And she'd be like, you're not on my insurance. And just growing up, it's not funny. It didn't, no one paid attention to it, and it got really, really bad to the point where I was so anxious that I could not eat. I was in 7th grade weighing 56 pounds. And, of course, people didn't really notice. And then eventually I did get old enough to go to a doctor, and I got prescribed Zoloft. And again, a lot of people don't like medication. Yeah. But for me, it was a light switch. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I can swallow my food. Yeah. You know? And parents, Mexican parents, well, I mean, that's all I had. That's all I could. They'll be like, are you crazy? Is my kid crazy? And it'll be like, shit, maybe. But it's just a thing that we have to accept. Unfortunately, this is what helps me. There's no therapy. And when you grow up, it doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense to my family. I have to talk to someone, and then maybe when I go out, I'll be able to actually walk around TJ Maxx without freaking out, So it's really important to me that younger people know what is happening to them, especially when they have no one to look to. And, that's why we're here, to reach those people. Like you said, some people are lonely, some people don't have anyone to talk to. I mean, especially, I'm from the south side of Chicago, everyone puts a front up, being tough, being, the big dog on the block, because it's necessary. And, those people, a lot of the times they do have something going on. Yeah. And it's 10 times more likely to go undetected. They're not going to get that help, right? And what happens to those people? They get worse and worse. And it's not their fault. So, I'm really happy that we're doing this because, like you said, it comes in all shapes, colors, everything. It's not just oh, I'm depressed today. It's a whole bunch of different things. A whole bunch of different circles, people with different lives and everything. Rich people, poor people, people that anyone can be suffering in silence.
Thank you guys for sharing. I feel like we bonded. We're in trauma bond, dude. Honestly, I feel like we've been in this this whole brand for forever, but none of us have openly talked about our stuff. Until right now. So I feel like not to this stuff. We have stuff, but we didn't know we had stuff, right? I'm sure you were oh, and I was but to piggyback off Melissa, there's the stigma, right? There's the stigma with mental health and especially in Hispanic households. They're like, what is the? They're like, gay is depression, and that's the new shirt, right? It's dropping soon.
Gay is depression.
Gay is depression.
Naynay says I talk a lot, but you guys left me speechless on that one. That these are the conversations that I think are important to have. And like you said earlier, Lewis, if it's for one person, and I was very hesitant to do the podcast for a long time. It was something that was Naynay kept pushing it, in a good way. Not that she's pushing, but she's, but it turned into that, we say, anxiety and, mental health comes in different symptoms, different sizes, and so does the help bar, so does therapy. And this podcast, there's a lot of episodes where it's if I'm the only one that got something out of this, then it was worth it, and maybe there's one other person or whoever hears it, and just, even if it's just from a level of understanding that this is out there, the world blinds us to what sometimes we truly feel on the inside, because there's influence everywhere, and it takes a lot of work and mind space to kind of just, okay, this is what reality is. This is what's real, right? And it takes it's so hard to find the right people that you can do that with and not feel judged or not feel okay, I'm crazy, but to have people that are just sometimes there to just hear you out, and take that journey with you. They might not help, but like you guys said earlier, you're just a hand to hold, because we didn't have that, and for me, that's where professional wrestling kind of started taking its hold in my life, because I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, but what I had were all these people on these walls, right? No matter what day that I had at school, no matter who didn't talk to me, no matter what happened, I could come home, video games, the toys, the VHS tapes, those were always there, and for me, and every time a professional wrestler passes away, I take it to heart. When Eddie Guerrero passed away, I cried for 2 days, and I told my dad, I was like, I feel like I lost a family member. I never got to meet him, but
TV.
Yeah. And those were the people that I was able to come home to every day, and they were always there, so where did wrestling kind of come in for you guys through all that?
So very young. So when we were 4 or 5, we moved to this beautiful country. I don't know if it was my dad who had. Her dad had the VHS cassette tape.
It was it was one of my dad's co-workers told him to watch Smack on Raw. It was the episode where Stone Cold.
All right, so we started watching. Stone Cold got run over. We were like, "What is this?" I'm tuned in. And then eventually, we were hooked. And then we just kept, talking about it in school with friends, and we realized that we were bonding with our friends at school. We wanted to keep talking about it, and wrestling has always brought people together, even at a young age. So much so that when we got our first game console, we got the video game. And then we were looking at the roster, and we saw that, the Hardy Boys, right? Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy. I'm like, oh, they have the same last name. They're probably brothers, right? And then Jose was like, my favorite wrestler is going to be Matt. Yours is going to be Jeff. And I said, that sounds great to me. And then I was like, okay. And then since then, they've literally been our favorite wrestlers.
Matt
Yeah, so that's.
I thought myself.
He's like,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how we follow the Hardys right there in the video game. We're like, okay, cool. And then we started watching them on SmackDown. We're like, brothers looking out for each other. Brothers looking out for each other.
Feels like 5 years. Though.
Feels like 5 years. But yeah, no, we got hooked very early on as kids with video games. And then the Hardys, just seeing them be brothers. And they were just like normal dudes, right? So everyone else, like these larger than life people, and then these guys were just wearing like pants, right? So we were like, these guys are cool. And they're brothers. So sign me up. So that's how that kind of started. Shannon loves wrestling. I won't even let her talk about it. So we could just go ahead and skip that.
Yeah, it's to piggyback what Lewis said. Wrestling was a big part of our life from when we were little kids. You know, coming into this country as 4 years old. We moved. I remember we were in New York for a little bit, and then we moved to Chicago. And being little kids, no cable, so you're like, whatever's on TV is on TV. And my dad, one of his coworkers, told him to turn on SmackDown or Raw. I forget which episode it was, or maybe it's pay-per-view. I don't know if Dad was stealing cable back then, but we saw Stone Cold get run over, and we were immediately hooked. And like Lewis said, Hardy Boys, we saw ourselves in the Hardy Boys, and they've been tremendous, even growing the brand. It's awesome to be able to say that wrestlers that you looked up to when you were little kids know who you are, and not only know who you are, but rep your brand. Whenever we've met Matt or Jeff, they've been phenomenal supporters of the brand and have repped us on WWE, TNA, and I never thought that'd be possible. Like, they've always been like our role models growing up, so to me that's huge. I mean, Matt Hardy's, I don't know if it's in the shop, but Matt Hardy's Vanguard 1 is in the corner over there. That's in my personal collection. So yeah. Probably not in the shop. Vanguard 1. It's there. What's it?
Yeah, I mean, I also started watching wrestling at a really young age. I moved a lot when I was little. Went into a new school, sat down. Girls were like, "Do you watch Raw?" And I was like, "No, what is that?" And I'm like, "Is that why kids are spitting?" I love that.
Kindergarten.
And they were like, "Yeah, that's it. That's Triple H." And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I put it on. I loved it. Yeah. And on and off. Yeah. As I got older, I like watched it here and there. But it always reels me back in. Right? Yeah. Like, I was not watching it. Moved to Pilsen. Roommate that I've never met before likes wrestling. Says, "Do you want to go to freelance?" I'm like, "I don't know what that is, but I'll go." And boom, back into wrestling. But I mean, and it was bound to happen that You Are More would be right in the middle of the wrestling community, because that's what we all have in common. Yeah.
Especially Shannon.
Especially me. Even more so. I'm more obsessed than all of you. You should. This is actually very fun.
Yeah. All these belts are Shannon.
The Vanguard 1.
Yeah. Shout out to Brooke, who's not here, for allowing me to turn this man cave into a wrestling memorabilia club.
So who was your first ambassador for You're More in professional wrestling? Do you remember? I don't know if you want to call them ambassador or someone that.
So our first big person to wear the shirt was if anyone watches MTV The Challenge. MTV The Challenge. There's a guy on there named Horacio, and he was just a beast. And he stud, right? And he absolutely killed it. And I'm gonna definitely because he talked a little bit about his mental health on the show. And immediately I was like, I'm gonna email this guy. And we were we had no following at all. We probably had maybe a couple 100, 300 followers. And then I was like, I'm going to email this. And I was like, hey, this is the message. This is what I want. Dude was so busy. He's like, yeah, I'll get to it. And then eventually he's like, hey, I'm so sorry. I really wanted to make sure I did a good job because I really believe in doing.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't charge us anything. And he recorded this amazing affirmation video. And it got like, I think like 10,000 likes. It got like over 100,000, 200,000 views, whatever. It did crazy numbers. And that's what started the momentum of the You Are More shirt. Because originally the first You Are More shirt I wore was originally like that shirt, but it just said You Are More on it and it was embroidered. And the goal was that I would do these videos and I would wear that shirt and I'd be like, hey, this is like my uniform as I'm like speaking. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the demand came after they saw Horacio wear the shirt. People were messaging us nonstop. Hey, can I buy the shirt? Can I buy the shirt? Where's the shirt? I don't see a link. There's no website. We didn't have a website. And then I was like, oh, damn, there's a demand for the shirt now. So then I had made a video and I was like, hey, thank you guys for your support. I want to sell these for a good cause. We have May's Mental Health Awareness Month coming around. If you guys want a shirt, they'll be for sale and 100% of the proceeds will go to the American Foundation for Suicide. That was our first ever, release that was that shirt, the OG shirt. And then after that, then it just, like Melissa said, it just became a thing where wrestling was always going to be part of it. I know, in terms of other people that helped us, like Linda Young, the original voice of Frieza from Dragon Ball Z, she had helped Jose and I at a previous venture that we did for our real estate. And, she's a Christian, like us. When my dad passed away, she was actually one of the few people that constantly checked in on me and was like, hey, like, it just, which is nuts because Frieza from Dragon Ball Z is emailing me, asking me, hey, Luis, I saw this, saw that, and just make sure you're okay, praying over you. And, and she's the sweetest lady. And then, so I sent her a shirt and then she made an awesome affirmation. She collabed with us on it. And then again, the demand for the shirt after people saw different audiences, right? We're doing that. And then, just the wrestling community. There was obviously Missa was one of the first. Jordan Cross was one of the first. Jordan I had met at a convention, or comic convention, and I had no idea he was a wrestler. We were just bonding over Star Wars, and eventually, it became we became really close friends, and he was one of the first people that I would say I would credit when we transitioned to wrestling.
I want to give Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan Cross has been a phenomenal asset to our brand. So much so that I'll never forget this. Me and Jordan weren't close right away because, like Lewis said, he met him at a Comic-Con and they were just talking about like Star Wars. So I didn't know who he was really. And so Lewis was like, I met the coolest dude ever in line talking about Star Wars. His name's Jordan Cross, independent wrestler. And like all this. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. But Lewis was going through something really heavy. It had been after our father had passed, and he was not the same person. He was, I saw the change in him, and I didn't want him to delay the message of helping people with their mental health because I saw it kind of get slower on You Are More for a little bit, and I was like, okay, the 1 year anniversary of You Are More is coming up. Like, what can we do to kind of give them that revamp? And I went on Facebook and I messaged Jordan Cross and I was like, hey man, I don't know, like, sorry, this is completely random. Sorry, I don't know if you'll see this message, but like, it would mean a lot to me if you had time to come visit Lewis. Like, I'm having like a Christmas party and whatever, and like he doesn't know it, but like, it would be awesome if you showed up. And Jordan lives an hour and like 40 minutes away. So for him to do that is like, that's asking for a huge favor. But I remember I sent him this long thing about like the situation, what was happening with Lewis's mental health. And all he said was, I'll be there, what time? That's all he said. And then same thing with Melissa, like dropped everything once I reached out to her and I was like, hey, like let's celebrate a year of this. Like when, like, and same thing. She was like, "When is it?" Wow. Like they didn't say like anything else other than let's do this, and that's the community that's behind You Are More, is people like that are willing to drop everything to help one another out. So big shout out to Jordan Cross.
I'm just thankful to be here.
Thank you, Jordan Cross. No, honestly, to go off of that, like Jordan, just to kind of transition and tie it in a nice little bow there, and his dad. Like literally, like when we had no following, when we were just slowly but surely growing, before the TNA collab, they always just found value in the message, right? And Jordan wears the You Are More luchador on his jacket when he comes to the ring. Jordan's dad has his story that, one day he'll share, but they're advocates and big believers in suicide prevention. And those two gave us our first, real big break in the wrestling community. They had a fundraiser for mental health, for the National Alliance of Mental Illness. They invited us to an event that they do with SSW. It's an awesome company that they run in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and they gave us our first big break. They gave us a booth. They gave us everything we needed, and that was where we debuted the luchador logo that Jeff Hardy wears, and it's a best-selling design. But that design was created at their show, and just because they found value in us, they believed in us, and they wanted us to be showcased the same way the wrestlers were. And we instantly sold out of the shirt. People loved the message. People just came up to our table just to talk with us. And they see mental health, wrestling? They're like, what? And they're like, I'm in. That's it. They just come up to us, and we get new followers just based on people seeing that we're at a wrestling show and it's mental health. And they're like, I think this is a great message. But Jordan Cross and his dad, Ryan Cross is his wrestling name, Mr. Joe, call him whatever you want. He's a hell of a guy. We're excited to work with them for our first wrestling show, SSW, and You Are More presents Suplex The Stigma. So it's a big collaboration that's been a long time coming, and we couldn't ask for a better partner to do this with than the Cross family for years. They've been backing us up, so it just made sense that when we have a vision and we want to come together to achieve it, and when we're all aligned, we have our best friends on that show, right? So Jordan's wrestling, Lulu Lorena's going to be there, Missa Kate, Brittany Brooks. These are all people that are known in the wrestling community, but we know them very well as close friends. And it's just an amazing thing to be able to all come together, and hopefully we can hear their stories too. Just put on a hell of a wrestling show and a hell of a night for people to remember. And when you hear Suplex The Stigma, not only is it a catchy phrase, but we're really doing that, right? We're body slamming the stigma behind mental health, truly. And I'm super excited. It's been a long time coming.
So having professional wrestling part of your lives forever, and now being so part of it on the other side, not just a fan now it's part of your lives, it's part of your community now. What does that feel for you? That little kid, that 4-year-old that saw Stone Cold get run over, when you saw Jeff Hardy on WWE television with your shirt, what was that feeling?
Melissa knows. So when we got invited to do TNA in Cicero Stadium, Jeff Hardy came out wearing the uniform, right? So like a child, I jumped out of my seat and I screamed. And I think I have the video on my highlights on my story, but if you listen really closely, you just listen to my voice, you can hear me go, your shirt. I'm losing my mind because it's my hero. And he reunited with Matt Hardy at a pay-per-view wearing our shirt. That was the night that in our hometown, you could not write a better story for somebody to keep going, right? From a few years ago to speaking to a couple people to now having reached over 4,500 people, but see like somebody you idolize as a child growing up wear your shirt in your home, city, and to have, my wife there, Melissa there, Jose in spirit, it was a really, he was in Montana. It was just a really awesome show. And to answer the question, I do my best to remain professional, because, at the end of the day, like, we want to be respected and be seen as a valuable brand. And I totally get that. But there are some things, where like that was the markup. But yeah, when TNA invited us out there, we got to go backstage. We got to see the people go over like the spots and stuff before the match, pay-per-view, and I'm like, I shouldn't be seeing this, but I'm just like all professional, and I'm, oh my god, yeah, I'm marking out. And then they went to the back, they did the photo shoot, and they're getting the wrestlers to, wear the shirt and do all that. Yeah, no, it was a really awesome time. But yeah, no, definitely do the best. But yeah, there's just some things I can.
To me, it's cool because I get friends here involved.
Oh, God.
It was like, never mind, give me the microphone. So, tell us more about the show that's coming up in September 27th. What does it mean for you? Why should people come out?
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome show. For me, it's just to grow not just one brand, which is You Are More, right? But then to grow an expansion of it, right? Suplex The Stigma. My goal is maybe to hopefully grow Suplex The Stigma in the wrestling community. Obviously, we're doing this right now with the podcast. But it could be such a versatile thing, right? We've done fundraisers for You Are More for breast cancer. We've done it for cancer. Suplex The Stigma could be anything. For me, I'm just like, let's go. Let's help people. Like, let's not be like comfortable in not doing something, right? So, to see the poster, right, and to see Jordan in it, to see Missa, to see Brittany, to see Lulu, right? People like Jasmine Allure, who were one of the early ambassadors for the brand, right? Sophia Rose, Shelly Benson. These are all people that, again, before even, we were popping off, they have their own stories. And I don't want to steal from them, because I hope one day they'll get on and share. But they all have their own stories. And when we spoke with TNA, the marketing team, we said, we think this is going to be a great idea, because when people look at wrestlers, they think that these are larger than life people, right? Like these larger than life people, they don't have any struggles, right? They're perfectly fine. But these people are human beings at the end of the day. They struggle too, sometimes in silence. So when you saw those campaign videos that they released, hearing people like Jake Something, seeing Trey Miguel come out to the ring with the shirt. These are people who have been vocal about their mental health battles, and now to see that campaign continue into working with the people that we know and we love. Like, when we share our story, we give the strength for other people to do the same thing, right? We make it a safe space, right? We're vulnerable, other people. So I'm excited to see the people that we love, we know, put on a hell of a show, and just land that message, right? That you are more than a stigma. Let's suplex the stigma surrounding mental health.
And I think that's exactly what you guys are doing. We all grew up wrestling fans. You see someone at the mall wearing a wrestling shirt, and right away you feel like, okay, there's that connection. You talk about, your roommate. Yep, right there. I think that's what you guys are doing with You Are More. It's becoming more than just rework. It's a symbol. It's a nod to somebody that understands the brand, that it's okay. If you need someone to talk to, that person that's wearing the shirt is a safe person to talk. And I think that's huge, because just that in itself is a comfort. And sometimes there's a lot of, you can't grow when you're comfortable or get too comfortable. That's why you make those little strides, but life gets tiring. We get tired, and sometimes we do need that comfort. And even if it's just that little nod from somebody, the people you thought were going to hate you, and they told you God has a purpose for you, right? And you guys are living that purpose, because this has been a stigma for a long time that no one wants to talk about it, because it is a stigma, you know, and now you guys are tackling it, you know, and it's just getting bigger and bigger, and it's just going to keep getting bigger from here, you know. So just, again, listening to your guys' stories is it's humbling, you know. It's always, when we think we're having a bad day, there's always someone that could be having a worse day, like no matter what, you know. But no matter, it's big for us, right? Because we're the ones that have to live it, you know. But just hearing that other people, that Jason David Frank, a literal superhero, has similar struggles, it almost humanizes them, and it builds a deeper connection, you know. So the message is great. I can't say it enough. What you guys are doing is amazing, and it's going to change people. It's going to save people. And so just keep going, guys. You guys are the team that you guys have built. Because the gym that I have back at home, I can't do that without my team. You know, everyone says it's like, all right, it's your gym, you own it, you make the final decision, but I don't. You know, it's down to the name. You know, when it was time to come up with the name Warrior Evolution, it was, what do we call it? You know, and we met as a group, we met as a team, the people that helped me get there. I wouldn't be where I am owning the gym without my people, you know, because I got there because of them. And it was Warrior Evolution because we don't create warriors at the gym. We evolve them. We're already warrior. You guys are living proof of that with the stories that you guys told today, you know, and kudos to you. It took me years to be able to kind of be open. And that was just last week's episode that I kind of opened up. You know, and I don't know if I would have done that if this wasn't happening, right? So it was, you guys are brave, you guys are awesome for doing this, and the stories are going to change people, I promise.
Well, definitely each one of you touched specific topics that hit home, literally. I feel humbled, I feel blessed, I feel privileged to just sit here, listen to your stories, talk to us about the cause, about everything. I really, 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 really appreciate it. I just can't say enough. Like, I'm very thankful, and I really hope this reaches millions of people one day, and I am sure it will. It will definitely bring people together, because one thing that, maybe you can share the story, but was it the last show that we went? What was it? When Misa got the belt, she got the belt for, well, it was one of the wrestling shows, but he was wearing your Yorbo shirt, and there was a wrestling fan that saw his shirt, and he asked him, you're wearing You Are More. I know them because I see them on Instagram. So now they connected.
He wanted to find the shirt.
Yeah, he wanted to find the shirt. So now someone's asking. So now you have live people, and then you have fans now saying, like, I know them. So that's beautiful to know that now your brand and your message is reaching to the people that you would have never thought. And now we're going to wrestling shows. Now people are bringing it up without you even being there.
Yeah.
They asked if you guys were there.
I mean, a big credit to that is because of people like Jordan Cross, like Ryan, like Missa Kate, Brittany Brooks. I mean, these are advocates, man. Like, they just wear it proudly, and they bring the people over to us, right? Like, come as
I think a year ago today was our event that we had for the Children's Hospital that Missa Kate and Brittany Brooks helped us with. We raised like $700 for kids that are struggling with like cancer and stuff like that. So I think it's poetic that we're sitting here today, a year later, talking about the cause again. And a year from now, we'll be doing more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. So this is only the beginning, and I'm grateful for you guys giving us the platform to do this.
We can talk forever. I know we can, but we'll wrap this up. We'll just whatever message you have for anybody that's listening right now from each of you, just give them that message. Let them know where you want to plug your Instagrams, whatever. Just let the people know where we can find you.
So you can find us at YouAreMore988. We all have our own endeavors that we're doing here, but that is our main line there. I'm going to selfishly promote Suplex The Stigma live from the Bronx Stop, Kenosha, Wisconsin. SSW and You Are More. We're going to have Chris Masters there and all the amazing You Are More family that we just talked about today. So I'm excited. It's good. September 27th. at 6:30 doors, 7 p.m. live at the Brat Stop, Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Will there be brats?
There will be brats. No.
Yeah, everyone should come and it'll be a great time. And keep going.
If I leave somebody with something today, today I was going through something after church this morning. I was really missing my dad today on the way home, and I put my phone on shuffle, and one of the songs that came on was Patience by Guns N' Roses. And no matter what you may be going through, I just feel like sometimes all we need is a little patience to get through it. So no matter what you may be going through, just have a little patience and you're going to get through it. Everything's going to be okay.
That should be the outro song.
Yeah. Sorry, what song is this? But yeah, that's pretty much all I had. If I could leave somebody with something today, and September 27th, Suplex The Stigma. Let's go.
Yeah. I think my message to people would be like, you might feel like you're all the way at the bottom of the well, complete darkness, physical pain, emotional pain, just like you can't even see like 10 feet in front of you, no future. There's a possibility that you can get out of that and you don't have to suffer. And you can take little steps, and those little steps, before you know it, you'll be out. And you'll be like, oh my God, I cannot believe I did that. I thought I'd be like done. And it's possible. And I just want people to like know that it is possible. And my Instagram is melodica.rt. Yes.
I am not Lewis, but I appreciate all the follows.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for sharing your stories. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for letting everybody know that it's okay to be vulnerable. Vulnerable is a strength and not a weakness, and that's something that I just learned about myself a week ago. And so I thank you guys continuing to make me a better person as well. And I look forward to more talk with you guys. I look forward to this first episode of Tazz Knows presents Suplex The Stigma. So I'm looking forward to the future episodes. Again, one more thank you for letting me be part of this, and then we'll catch you all back very, very soon. Thank you guys.